since Kevin Durant requested a trade out of Brooklyn. The 33-year-old superstar has 4 years left on a deal that will pay him nearly $200 million. And this isn't just about KD, as Kyrie Irving is expected to be dealt this offseason. Very busy for Sean Marks and company with the Nets. Senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski joining us now. He broke the KD trade request story and joins us. So where do things stand now? Because this feels like, hey, let's buckle up our seatbelts. It's going to be a long ride.
Yeah, Kevin, especially when a trade request comes after the draft. Sometimes, there's momentum to get a deal done around draft picks on draft night. But because this came at the start of free agency, still less than a week ago, it might take some time. I think this is going to be, in most instances around the league, probably more than a two-team deal, a complex trade. Teams like Phoenix, Miami, they need other teams to help them. Listen, they're out canvassing, looking for the pieces that they don't have to send to Brooklyn. But the one team who really could do the one-to-one trade with Brooklyn and that has interest are the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, 2018, they did the big deal just after Summer League for Kawhi Leonard. But Toronto has the pieces, they have the draft picks, they have an all-star level player and Pascal Siakam, good young starters. And so I think there's certainly a pathway there if Toronto decided to get more aggressive in their pursuit of Kevin Durant.
And then the result there is Kawhi leading that team to a championship in just one season. Any team that's going to get Kevin Durant will have 4 years with him, as you talked about with that contract. KD coming off a season where he averaged nearly 30 points in 55 games. Woj, thank you so much. Much more on Kevin Durant and the trade request ahead on SportsCenter. Why KD might want to get comfortable in Brooklyn as the Nets negotiate with possible trade partners. As Woj talked about, maybe multiple teams.
Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. This is seismic.
Kyrie Irving ruined the franchise. Kevin Durant has had enough.
Wherever he ends up, a lot of people are going to make that team the favorite to win it all.
It is an opportunity for Kevin Durant to sort of reclaim the story of his career.
As we wait, the Kevin Durant sweepstakes continue as front office insider Bobby Marks joining us now. Bobby, we heard Woj at the top of the hour say, okay, buckle up. This could be a while. What signs are telling you that this could take some time before we see KD and Kyrie Irving getting moved?
I think today, the two signings with Brooklyn signing T.J. Warren and Edmond Sumner to, contracts where Brooklyn was basically in that 4-day holding pattern. They had 10 players on their roster. They had signed Patty Mills and Nick Claxton to contracts, but we were all waiting for one of those 5-for-1 type deals where Brooklyn was going to preserve some roster spots. Well, today they signed 2 players. That gets them up to 12. So there's still a deal out there to be made, but I think today's kind of a sign that they're going to start doing business like all the other 29 teams are starting to fill out their roster.
All right, the Heat and Suns are among the teams that KD has on his wish list. DeAndre Ayton, though, he remains unsigned since the start of free agency. Bobby, how could Ayton impact Phoenix's chances of landing KD?
Yeah, I don't think directly to Brooklyn, but I think when you look at it as far as an Ayton package to the Nets because of the hard cap, but if Ayton comes off the board, as you said, the top free agent, restricted free agent, let's say he signs an offer sheet with the Indiana Pacers, for example. Well, that eliminates a trade asset from the Phoenix Suns. So if Ayton is still an unrestricted free agent, you can use him maybe to a third team as a trade asset here. So if he signs either with Phoenix or with a team like Indiana, that just eliminates another trade asset that Phoenix can move later in a deal here.
Keep in mind, if he signs with the Suns can offer the most years and money at 5 years over $179 million, while other teams can offer 4 years and $133 million. Bobby, thank you. El?
From Sean Marks and Joe Tsai, good for them.
And people can say, oh, Freddie, you're a Kyrie Irving hater. I don't hate on Kyrie Irving.
It's maybe the biggest catastrophe we've seen in sports about what this team could have been.
But what's the O-line, KYP, know your personnel? You got to know who you're getting involved with, your Kevin Durant.
But it gets to a certain point where enough is enough.
What did you think was going to happen when you two guys got together?
And everybody's using this word, how do you accommodate KD? They weren't worried about making it work for us. I'm not worried about accommodating Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I'm worried about accommodating my franchise.
What is good with you today after July 4th? He's Jay Williams and Freddie Coleman in for the boys today on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, presented by Progressive Insurance on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80 and ESPN2. Oh, we're going to get to more of your phone calls regarding Kevin Durant and which superstar he needs to play next to and why, which superstar needs him at 888-ESPN, 888-729-3776. But you made the point because it was put out there by our man, Mark J. Spears of Fanscape, that Kevin Durant, a reunion to the Golden State Warriors, he floated that out there over the week on ESPN Radio. And you and I had a conversation yesterday, Jay Will, that the minute you heard that, and I could see it in your eyes right now, and I felt it in your voice, I'd even seen your face yesterday, that you said, man, Freddie, this is not a good idea.
As a fan of Kevin Durant's unicorn ability on the basketball court, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it because of how other people will then define his legacy by that, right? Now, going there the first time, I wouldn't have recommended it, but in his reasoning, it was because of basketball. I actually understood that from a basketball IQ perspective because the way Golden State plays with how you can, their continuity in which they play off with Steph and with Clay and Draymond is really a beautiful thing. It's the way basketball should be played, right? So I get that. You go there, you win 2 world championships, you get 2 finals MVPs. But Freddie, you go to Brooklyn, it blows up the way it's blowing up now currently. Kyrie Irving is trying to get to L.A. to play with LeBron James, but he was just playing with you because of a deal. So even though we know the nuances of that didn't work out deal-wise, it still just looks bad, right? He's leaving Kevin Durant to go back to LeBron James.
Right.
So it makes you question that and who was leading and who was taking charge of that relationship.
Sure.
Even though this may not be true, that's where you start going with it, right? And then on top of that, the Golden State Warriors just won a damn championship.
We've seen this before.
And you got people out here talking. Key was like, Key straight up asked me, so what's really the difference between Harrison Barnes and Wiggins and KD? He's like, they all got you chips, right? And I was like, Key.
Yeah.
Key. And we talk about the details, right?
Sure.
KD's very different. And he wasn't saying that. He knows KD's different, right?
Keyshawn busting chops, who knew?
It all led to championships. So then people started running with that narrative. I'm like, see, y'all ain't going to do that. I ain't going to allow y'all to do that.
Right.
But if he were to find a way to go back after so you came here and then you won and you decided to do it, but you can't do it without Steph. You can't do it without Clay or Dre. And now after you saw them win, now you're going to run back with your tail between your legs. Even though we know it's not the case, people will make it out to be that way.
Yes.
And I would hate that for him individually. I would hate it for him.
Here's why you hate it for him. And I'm not trying to speak for another man, but I'm about to speak for another man.
I wouldn't let that deal go through.
Well, the deal, I believe it's not going to happen anyway.
I'm like, I'll stay here in Brooklyn. I'm not going back.
But we'll put it this way. If you decide to do something like that, then you really give credence to what people have been saying about you, that you want to be a follower and you don't want to be a leader. So from that standpoint, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to see that for Kevin Durant. But something that you just said really struck me funny about this whole thing, why you don't want to see it. And here's why. Because you care a lot more for Kevin Durant's legacy as much as he does. The difference is when you're speaking out for him, he strikes back at people without receipts. And there are plenty of times that people say, see, that's why. That's why we say those things about you. And that's not to say that being thin-skinned is a problem. Hey, I don't walk in Kevin Durant's shoes. I don't know how he's supposed to feel. He can only determine that. But I know people kept clapping back at me that way, especially guys that I respected, that I grew up watching, wanting to be a basketball player. Yeah, it's going to hurt me to my soul. Say, why you keep criticizing me? But you can't keep giving people reasons. And you can't keep giving people enough evidence to say, this is why we say these things. So I understand, Jay, why you want that for Kevin Durant, because you dealt with it. You're sick and tired of people clapping at you when you're trying to do the right thing. To me, Kevin Durant tries to do the right thing. To me, he just goes about it in the wrong way when it comes to his basketball career and his legacy.
And here's the problem, though, Freddie, is the problem is that now that you're signed to this 4-year deal, and once again, I stated this in the first hour, I am all about player empowerment. Watching what LeBron James has been able to do at multiple franchises, even though it gets difficult, still the success rate is pretty high.
Absolutely.
Even though right now, they're in a little bit of a quell and people are starting like, oh, look what happens. Fine, they won your championship 2.5 years ago. I get whatever you've done for me lately. But like I'm looking at the KD situation with Kyrie, and I'm saying, man, I wish that there was a way that KD could find a team like a Portland where Dame, who is, granted, when he's not injured, but you know what you're gonna get all the time.
Oaktown,
you
in
know
the
what
house.
time it is all the time, and there's also a part of me as somebody that as I've been around owners, I've talked to presidents of teams, I've thought about going down that direction in my life. There are certain junctures where it's like, yo, man, at the same time, I know you gave me a list of teams you want to go to. I don't have to move you anywhere. And I need you to know what time it is. I know how powerful you are. And if this goes to arbitration, then so be it. But just because you want to be moved because it didn't work out for what you needed us to do for your teammate, I'm doing what's in the best interest of my franchise. And for me, unless I get a haul back, unless I'm getting 6, 7 first-round picks, I'm getting 2 all-star caliber players, some assortment that looks like that, that is a package bigger than what Minnesota, gave up for Rudy Gobert, you're not going anywhere, man. You're going to be right here. You're going to be a Brooklyn Net until we get the right opportunity. And if we don't, then we're going to have to manage that. And I'm going to challenge you to see how professional are you truly when it comes to, I know how professional you are to basketball, to the game of basketball, but the business of basketball, now I'm going to challenge you to see how professional you are in that regard.
Great stuff by Jay Will talking about the future. Kevin Durant, what that future is going to look like. As a matter of fact, in 35 minutes here on Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, I'm going to find out from Jay Will, what if the Brooklyn Nets don't trade Kevin Durant? That comes to you in about 35 minutes. But speaking of Kevin Durant, more of your calls, getting a lot of great reaction from you at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Which superstar would benefit the most from teaming up with Kevin Durant, and why? Don in California, which one is it?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate
What's up, Don?
Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
What's up? What's going on, Jay? What's going on, guys? I got a few points if possible. Obviously, I think Memphis, nobody's ever talking about that. If he goes to Memphis with Ja and them, with that culture and what they got going, I mean, I remember the Grindhouse back in the day when Gasol, they've given the Warriors fits, right? And Curry always has his worst games there. So I think that would be a good spot with him. I think KD's going to surprise us, right? I remember when he went to the Warriors. No one had a clue. I think he's very unpredictable, so I think his next spot, it's just going to surprise everybody. Vegas, just on that train of thought, the Suns. Vegas has them as the favorite now, so I don't know what that means, and Brooklyn's not even in the conversation. So I don't know what that means, but that's a possible spot too. But there's nothing he can – Warriors are going back-to-back. I'm a diehard Warrior fan. I've been watching them forever. There's nothing he can – there's nothing he can really do. Curry, the Warriors are just going to keep some people from winning.
Wait, Don, let me ask you a question. You're a Warriors fan. Would you want Kevin Durant back on the Warriors?
No, you're right. No, I don't think so. You look at it like you said, but the legacy, the culture, the fans, we just won one. I don't think they need him back. They want him back. But yeah, I remember you don't remember back in the day, Jay, we go way back. I remember balling with you in San Ramon. I'm from California.
24-hour fitness, San Ramon, California, baby.
Way back. Yeah, Bishop Ranch, way back. You don't remember me, but you can ball. You can still ball, man. You're nice.
All right, man. I appreciate that. San Ramon, California, 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
My guy, Carl Liebert. Yeah, I consulted for 24-hour fitness for a while. Worked out there.
What was that run like?
It was good runs.
I bet what Don still remembers.
Good runs.
Yeah.
Good runs out that way. But I agree with him kind of on the Golden State point, Freddie.
Me too.
That's what I'm saying. You just want a chip. And granted, some of your role pieces you no longer have now on your roster, but are you willing to give up a little bit of your culture?
No.
I'm not giving up Andrew Wiggins, seeing the way he defended. I'm not doing that to my core right now.
They already gave up their culture the first time, and then he just completely turned his back on it for whatever reason when it comes to Kevin Durant. So why would you want to have a chance to have somebody to forgive them for that? No. If I'm Golden State, I'm not. There's no way in God's earth I'm doing that. There's no way. Nothing against Kevin Durant. But we won before you, we won with you, and we won without you again. What do we got to prove to you?
Just saying. I get how it works basketball-wise, but culture over everything.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Out in the Boogie Down Bronx, which superstar would benefit the most from teaming with Kevin Durant, and why?
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Love y'all show, man.
What up, baby?
Appreciate you.
I think that for sure, Luka Doncic could definitely benefit the most from Kevin Durant because they have this yin and yang. between Luka Doncic is like more bubbly, more fun personality, and I think KD needs a little bit of that too because you know they have some pieces in place where they could have possibly got through it, and now with the departure of Jalen Brunson, KP's gone. They need the size. They need more firepower on that team. I feel like he'll definitely benefit from Luka.
Oh, look, man, I'm telling you, Adi, like the thought experiment of KD and Luka on the same squad, I mean, it has me like a giddy little girl. I mean, to think about what that would be.
The GLG, giddy little girl theory.
It would be so next level because of the skill set on the court and how Luka is a facilitator. And I agree with what he said personality-wise to lighten the mood for KD. It feels like there's some heaviness that comes with that, right? Heavy is the head who wears the crown.
Yeah.
But what does Brooklyn get back in return? Like, and that's the biggest thing. When you look at these trades, you're saying, oh, Luka and KD, it sounds great when you have their names together in the bucket.
Right.
But if you're Brooklyn, what are you giving me back? Other than draft assets, you have nothing to give me back.
I don't even care about the draft assets. I like the fact that people are matching up superstars with him that would benefit each other. It's not just, okay, it's just benefiting Kevin Durant or just benefiting the superstar. He said, this is why both would benefit. And we've heard that so far from people, whether it's Luka, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard. So I get it. In the NBA, things got to match up. I don't mind. And you know me, I'm not a hypothetical person. I don't like fantasy land. I don't mind this kind of fantasy land because of people trying to make sense with reality. The reality is, to your point, what if the Brooklyn Nets